Hi, 皆さん、こんにちは. Today we're looking at Wakatta Unit 3 Kanji. Now, please make sure you have your course book page 48 and also workbook 50ページ、51ページを開いてください. Now, as I go through each individual kanji, I will explain the pronunciation. It will also show you the stroke order, and I will also go through the origin of the kanji so that it will help you remember the shape. So good luck, and let's work through the writing practice on workbook 50ページ and 51ページ together. Okay? Alright, じゃあ let's get started. スタートします。Alright, the first kanji we're looking at is early, 早い. Now this kanji is pronounced 早 and in bracket い, 早い. Okay? Now please note that this is not the same 早い for 早く when we talk about hurry up. In fact, hurry, the word for hurry up, hayaku, is actually be speedy. Okay, so the word for speedy and early are pronounced the same, but the kanji are different. Okay, so this one is just for early. Asa, hayaku, early in the morning. Okay, now haya is very straightforward. The sun comes up and the person wakes up and do a big stretch yawning. Okay, and from this shape we derived this particular shape, which then is developed into something a bit more squarish, like the sun kanji at the top and the ten kanji at the bottom. Okay, so let's practice the stroke order according to the GIF animation and write them down in your workbook 50ページ. You may pause at any time and please feel free to continue if you're ready to move on to the next kanji. Alright, let's go. 次に行きます。はい、次。新しい。新しい means new. Okay, this is a really tricky one because it's complicated, but also the pronunciation. There are 5 hiragana, but this kanji only represents the first 3. Atara and then shi is extra. Now, another pronunciation you need to know is shin. When it's combined with other kanji such as this one. Newspapers. Shinbun. Now, shin is new. And how about bun? Where have you seen that kanji before? That's right, it's kikimasu. Kikimasu, which means to listen or to ask. So it's new stuff that you have heard, that you have listened, you've been hearing about. Then it's about the newspaper. Okay, shinbun. So in this case, it is pronounced shin, shinbun. じゃあ, where does the kanji comes from? Okay, it's a very interesting story. Now, in the past, okay, in ancient times, when people go out into the woods and trying to find a tree to chop down, there was a practice. This is not common across all regions of China, but there was the region that they developed this kanji. There was a practice where they would just have a really large nail, and there was the myth, okay, has it that they would throw it randomly at a tree, and whatever tree it managed to stick on or land on, that's the tree you're chopping down. However, later on, people believe that it's not so much it's a random choice. It's more that they're using the nail as a testing measure to see whether the wood is, should I say, soft enough for the axe to actually, or for the whatever instrument they had at the time, to saw down the tree with. Okay, so we have a big nail, throwing that at a tree or putting that into a tree. And once you found the tree that you're trying to chop off, you will chop it off with an axe. So you will see that down here, we have this part, which is the symbol for the huge nail. So it's got a huge head, okay, a huge triangular head going down into the tree. And the bottom bit is obviously a tree. Now on the right hand side, we have a piece of wood that's being chopped almost in half, but it's bending, okay, it's bending towards the right. And then we have the axe going in. So really, okay, on the right hand side, this part is the wood, and this T-like, T-shaped like part of the kanji is the actual axe. So therefore, you choose a tree in front of the forest and you chop it down to make new furnitures or new housing materials. So from this concept we derived the shape of the kanji for new, atarashi, atarashi. Alright, please practice in your workbook. はい、次いきます. Alright, the next kanji, it's going to be one of the most commonly used kanji you will have in your writing, but at the same time it is also a tricky one to write because of its odd asymmetrical shape. Now these kanjis pronounce ie, okay, ie, when talking about house or home as a standalone vocab. But if you combine it with other kanji words, for example, in this instance, we have kateka, which is home economics. And this is the same ka in kazoku, okay, family, ka. Now, here's what the story is like. In the ancient times, it is very important that you keep your pigs safe because they are an important financial asset, important property. So you will put them into a nice structured, shall I say, barn or a housing facility, or even in your own home. Okay, so from this shape we have a house-like structure, a hut-like structure, and underneath we have a very simplistic sort of stick figure man kind of style of drawing a pig. So it has a head that's flat, it has a body that joins up and joins to the hind leg, and then we draw in the other 3 legs to make up for the 4 legs, and then we have a little tail at the end. And as time goes by, it develops something that's a little bit more squarish. So we have the roof. In fact, this is a very common radical you will see when it comes to any kind of housing, something to do with houses, okay? And then underneath, we still have the head of the pig as flat, but this time we start with the foreleg, the first foreleg, and then we go around the body, okay? So it's like a round back, and then joining onto the hind leg, and then we're adding 2 extra legs in the middle. And then the little tails we have becomes a little bit of hook-like structure. And hence our current modern day kanji for ie. Okay, so let's have a go at practicing in your wakabuku. では次いきます。Alright, the next kanji is very straightforward. It is to enter or to put in. However, though, its pronunciation is very tricky. This is an example of a simple kanji, but with complex reading. So there are 3 ways of reading it. It is hairimasu to enter, iremasu to put in, or ireru, and iru. Now, iru is only used when we talk about entrance. For example, iriguchi, entrance, iriguchi, okay? Now, the other pronunciation in red is nu. Okay, when you combine it with another kanji, it's pronounced as nu. For this unit, even though this is not actually a prescribed vocab, for this unit, you need to know this word, you knew, which is import. Okay, you knew. You means logistic, okay, so or distribution. So and you knew is import, so you're bringing in, okay, through the distribution channel. Okay, that's importing. So the story has it that to enter or to put in is like carving something into a piece of wood or shooting an arrow into a piece of wood, and the contact with the and the surface where the arrow makes contact with the wood, it makes an arrow-like indent into it, and from that indentation we derive this shape, which pretty much looks like human, the kanji for person, isn't it? However, though, the difference is the person kanji faces the right hand side, whereas the hairimasu, the enter kanji, faces the left hand side. Okay, so make sure you don't get these two confused. Alright, practice in your wakabuku. And では次いきます。Okay, so now we have the opposite kanji, which is to leave or to go out, to exit. So 出る is to leave. Okay, 家を出る leave the home. 学校を出る leave school. Okay, and it is also the de in 出かける to go out with someone. Now another pronunciation is 出す. When we pronounce it as 出す, it means you are handing over something to other people. You're taking it out. Okay, I'm going to take something out of my pocket. ポケットから出す. Okay, take it out of my pocket. 宿題を出す. Handing your homework. Now, the Chinese reading, which is the onyomi, is 出. Okay, so let's look at some example. The first example, exit, it is pronounced 出口, 出口, 出口. However, for the word export, it is 輸出, 輸出. So logistic, distribution, and it's going out. So therefore it's export, 輸出. Alright, now this is not the original kanji origin story, but I think this one makes a lot more sense. Okay, so therefore you're having my version. So the word come out, or to go out, or to leave something, comes from the concept of having two mountains. Okay, so you can associate with the sun leaving the earth, okay, between the mountains as it's set into the horizon, or you can imagine you living in the far sort of inaka countryside, and you're trying to leave home, and you have to go over two mountains. Okay, so it's two mountains put together, and it is demasu. However, the vertical stroke in the middle, okay, of the two mountains, they are not separate. They are one continuous line. Okay, so make sure you watch the GIF animation very carefully to see how you write it. Okay, all right. So now you can practice in your workbook. では次いきます。Now this kanji is going to be one of the main grammar structures you need to know for this unit. I think. Okay, this is the kanji for to think and to recall, and it is pronounced omoimasu. Okay, this is omo part of omoimasu, to think. If you combine this kanji with the previous kanji, it becomes omoidasu, which means you are thinking and you're bringing it out of your memory, you're taking it out of your memory. Then this word omoidasu means to recall. So here's the story. Okay, the ancient Chinese believed that, to think you need to use your head and you need to use your heart, and this is the basic cognitive function that all human being has, from a young age. So therefore, from this idea, we developed a child's head. So it's a gigantic squarish block of head with one piece of hair at the top. Okay, and because kids are not, they were not considered significant, therefore just put a cross across the face to indicate that just some sort of facial features. Okay, so below the face we have a huge heart. Okay, now the bottom bit is meant to look like the organ, heart organ. However, for me it looks more like a child just sitting sideways on a lounge. Okay, just sitting comfortably. It depends on how you want to look at it. But the bottom bit is the radical for heart. Okay, so it has a chubbier sort of chamber in the middle, the main chamber. It has two smaller chambers on two sides, and then there's a one sort of symbolic stroke in the middle of the middle chamber to indicate the flow of blood. And from this kanji, we derived a more simplistic version of the kanji, which is just a square head. Okay, or a round head with and then the heart underneath with three dots floating in the middle and a sort of a circular thing around. So modern day kanji now, the head evolves into a rice paddy field kanji for ta, and the heart symbol is a bit hard to write, but make sure you get it right. It is going to the left, and then we have a circular, almost like the body of the baby. Okay, the bottom bit of the heart, but we don't close it off. We do another dot in the middle which slants to the right, bottom right, and another dot which is outside the heart slanting to the right. Okay, so that's how you write omoimasu, to think. All right, let's have a practice in your workbook 50 page. All right, let's move on to the next one. Ski. These are the kanji for to come. Now, depending on which conjugation you're using, the pronunciation of the kanji come changes because it is one of the two irregular verbs. So to come is kimasu. In a plain form, it is kuru. In a negative plain form, it is konai. All right. Now, the pronunciation of this kanji when combined with another one is lai. For example, next month, lai getsu. Next year, lai nen. All right, so here's the story. Now, this is not the original story, but I think this one makes the best sense. So you have a tree, okay, a gigantic tree that has multiple layers of branches, and then along from different directions came all these birds, okay, because they are going home. They're coming to either to hunt for little bugs, or they're coming to hunt to gather fruits, or they're coming to nest. So this is a symbolic feature of a tree with two birds approaching it, flying towards it. And then as the shape evolves over time, it gradually looks like this. And nowadays, it is a gigantic tree. It is so gigantic, okay, it's not just a tree kanji, but you add an extra layer on top, and between the two layers of branches, we have the birds going down like that. Okay, so that's how to practice in your Wakabuku. では次いきます。Okay, island, shima. Now you need to know two pronunciations, shima or to. Now shima is the same shima in Hiroshima, okay, even though Hiroshima is not technically an island, okay? But there are some places in Japan that which are actually islands. They refer to themselves either as shima or to, depending on what you're looking at. So Hiroshima, Sakurajima with a tenten, that's also an island. Okay. However, there is an island that's going to appear in your reading in the course book. It's called Goto Island. Okay, Goto. Now, in this case, the island name is pronounced To. As to why, unfortunately, there's no reason when it comes to naming places in Japan. In fact, town names and city names in Japan is probably considered the hardest kanji sort of test, even for native speakers. All right. As to why this kanji looks like this is based on the idea in the ancient times when fishermen go out fishing, and whenever they spot a new island off the horizon, this is usually the kind of picture they'll see. Okay, there will be some mountainous land feature, and then there will be some sort of birds flying on top. So therefore, they believe that an island should be represented by literally a bird over a mountain. Okay, now this was a very complicated drawing in thousands of years ago. So they tried to simplify it without much success, but hopefully it will lead to understanding what the shape looks like today. So in the olden time, we have the big head of the bird, okay, and then the body with the feathers going behind, and then we have the claws or the feet, okay, going down and over the mountain. As time goes by, it gets simplified to the body just curving all the way down, and then the big head, which then continues to the wing, and we have a horizontal line represent the eye of the bird, and then we're just adding the extra sort of flowing line to indicate that it is very flowy or feathery. Now that part already is the radical that has something to do with birds. Okay. Now underneath the bird we have a mountain, and that is pretty much it. So if you look at the kanji itself, okay, we have the beak of the bird, we have the body that goes all the way straight down. Before we finish off the body though, okay, you are going to then do a squarish head, the eye, and then we close off the head. Now to represent that it's got a wing, okay, we are going to do just one wing. That's it, one. And then underneath the wing, we have the body and the tail, okay, the tail of the bird. The tail of the bird curves to the right, straight down, and a little curve up. That's it. Now, so least radical, let me rewrite that over here. So least radical, sorry about my messy writing, it's radical for bird. The actual kanji for bird simply involves you adding 1, 2, 3, 4 dots in there. Okay, to indicate the extreme feathery nature of the bird. All right, so let's have a go at writing this kanji with the bird and the mountain on your workbook 51 page. All right, let's get the move. Next, now this kanji looks simple. Okay, it is the kanji for noon. Okay, it's pronounced go. And we use it in words such as morning, gozen, or afternoon, go. Okay, gozen literally means noon before, and afternoon, gozen means noon after. And to say that this is 9 a.m., we say gozen kuji. Okay, we don't say a.m. So we literally have to say a.m. 9 o'clock in that word order. And therefore 3 p.m. is gogo sanji. Okay, here's the story. Okay, imagine an ancient Chinese man, okay, wearing a hat in the middle of the day, okay, because the sun's really warm, it's extremely hot. For sun protection and to avoid heat stroke, you put a hat on, okay. So once you put a hat on though, it's still really warm, so you're still sweating, okay. So from this picture we derived a man standing, so symbolic with the cross like kanji. At the top we have a rounded feature for the hat and the sweat going on the left hand side. And as time goes by, we gradually draw it like this. Okay, and then nowadays it looks more like this. Now one thing you have to be careful is that make sure that the middle vertical line does not protrude above this kanji. In fact, it looks very much like part of nen kanji, isn't it? Okay, so if you write nen, you shouldn't have any problem writing this. Alright, so have a practice in your workbook before we continue. Hey, tsuki ikimasu. Alright, this is one of my favorite stories to tell. After or behind. Ato or ushiro. When you pronounce it as ushiro, then it's behind. If it's ato, it's after. For example, gakkou no ato, after school. いいですか? Now, another pronunciation is go when it's combined with other kanji. So, for example, the first example, hokago, after school. It's a very special word. Okay, we don't say gakkou go, unfortunately. Hokago, after school. It's either hokago or gakkou no ato to say after school. All right. So the story goes like this. Okay, the left-hand side of the kanji, that's the same kanji for that's the same part that you can find in ikimasu, which is to go. So we are using the same radical on the left-hand side to indicate it's about going somewhere. Okay, so there's a person going somewhere, but what's happened is that his legs have been tied up by ropes that's in knots. Okay, so you can see the top right-hand section. Okay, the figure 8-like thing, that's representing a very complex knot. And underneath is the tied up legs, okay, the person's leg being tied up. So if you're trying to go somewhere but your legs are tied up, of course you're going to fall behind. So this concept then develops into this kanji, ushiro or ato. Okay, so it gradually evolves into that, and nowadays we have to write it according to the GIF animation. Now this is a hard one to write, so make sure you practice it really well. Alright, now if you have finished writing ushiro or ato in a workbook, please continue to the next kanji. Dewa. This one is morning, okay, as in asa. Asa gohan, morning meal, okay, breakfast. Now another pronunciation of this kanji is cho. Now, in fact, there are two words for breakfast. Asa gohan, breakfast, or chōshoku, which means breakfast as well. As to, are they any different? Not exactly. Asa gohan is just a very Japanese way of saying it, and chōshoku is more Chinese pronunciation, but they're all the same. If you really have to say whether there's a difference, asa gohan is more kids language, okay? Actually, kids and adults, whereas chōshoku is more adults only. You don't really hear little kids talking about their breakfast saying chōshoku, okay, because that's considered a big word. All right, so here's how the story goes. Now, in the big forest of grass and trees, we have the sun that's just about to rise, but the moon is still around the horizon as well. So that's just when the night is about to switch to day, and that's morning, okay? So we have this picture where the sun is surrounded by grass or branches, okay, at the top and at the bottom, and then we have the moon on the right-hand side, okay? Because the sun is still very young in the early morning, so therefore moon is a lot bigger, okay? So practice writing it in your workbook now. Alright, では行きます. Gentlemen, last for kanji. So let's get going. Alright, the next kanji is night or evening. Now this is more like a kanji more for night, to be honest, because we do have another word for evening, because night is a much later sort of word for night, isn't it? Evening. Okay. Now, so when it's on its own, you pronounce it as yoru. Okay, for example, 10 o'clock at night. Yoru 10 That's 10 o'clock at night. However, ya is used when you combine with other kanji, such as this. Konya, tonight. And yashoku, which is not dinner, but it is late night snack. Okay? Alright, so story goes that at night time you go under some kind of shelter and it's you watching the moon from underneath your shelter. Okay, so we have the shelter, the person, and the moon. Now notice how the moon in this kanji though is not written like your usual getsuyobi, getsu kanji. Okay, it's a different version. It's a morphed version of it. So we have a katakana ta, and then we add another line which is almost like a moon, but it continues on and drags on to the right. All right, practice now in your wakabuku. はい、では行きます。Alright, the next kanji is cow or bull. Now, does this remind you of another kanji you just learned today? That's right, noon. Okay, the difference between noon and cow is this. So I'm writing noon right now in red. So what's the main difference? That's right, it is that vertical line in the middle of the kanji. All right. So ushi is cow, of course. Now, gyu, you hear that very often in English, but you don't realize you're saying it. For example, wagyu. Wagyu. What's wagyu? That's right, Japanese beef, isn't it? So wagyu literally means Japanese cow or Japanese bull. And gyuniku is beef. It literally means cow meat. Okay, in Japanese, we don't necessarily have a separate word for cow or bull, okay, like in English. If you really have to say, you have to say it is a female or a male. Okay, osu or mesu no ushi. Osu no ushi is osu is male and mesu is female. And that is only male and female used for animals, not for humans. All right, here we go. So here's how the origin of the kanji. So we take the silhouette of the front picture of the cow, okay, and we develop into something that's very simple like that. Now, as time goes by, we somehow dropped the horn on the right-hand side and just developed into this kanji that looks very much like go, noon, but not. All right, practice that in your wakabuku now. はい、では次。Sakana is fish. Now, straightforward, okay, sakana. The whole kanji is sakana. But it is also pronounced as gyo. It's, for example, gyojin. Gyojin is mermaid, literally means fish person. Another kanji you need to know is goldfish. It literally involves gold, which is king. Okay, king as in king yobi. Let me write the king down for you. Sorry about my writing. Okay, king. So kingyo is therefore goldfish. Okay, that's another kanji use you need to know. Kingyo, goldfish. So it is actually a very pictorial one. It's a fish if you look at it vertically, and then as time goes by, okay, we develop it into something that looks like this. So we've got sort of a bit of a, should we say, the beak of the fish. And then we have the scaly kind of body, and then we have the fins, or not on the side, but the tail of the fish. And then as time goes by, it gets even further simplified to something like this. And nowadays, it's more squarish, like the one in the GIF animation. So practice this kanji in your wakabuku now. Hai, dewa tsuki. Our last kanji, which is Zaku. Now, this is the only pronunciation for the kanji. It means family or clan. Okay, so for example, in kazoku, okay, we have family. It's a family unit. Now, the second vocab, suizoku kan, okay, kan as in toshokan, hakubutsukan, okay. Suizoku is water clan building, okay. It's aquarium. It's aquarium where the water family lives together. All right. So now this kanji looks complicated because it's made out of 3 components. Okay, oh, sorry, I'm revealing it all in one. Okay, the story goes that the left-hand side is the flag. Okay, it's not our typical Western flag, but it's more the Chinese, Japanese flag when they go into battles. Okay, this one is, I believe this is Orida Nobunaga's war, like battle flag. So someone will be holding the flag to indicate that we are under the one family or one clan. And then we have a person in the middle who will be using arrows, shooting arrows, okay? So, if you look at this particular kanji over here, you will see the flag on the left-hand side like that, okay? So we have a bit of a decorated top, and we have the pole going down, and a sort of a longish rectangular flag. And then we have the person at the top on the left, and the arrow, which looks something like that in the past. As time goes by, the flag starts to have a more squarish shape like that. Okay, so that is quite straightforward. Now, however, the person gets morphed into a sort of a flatter kanji for person. So underneath the person, we have the arrow, which looks like this. However, that is still not the modern day version of the kanji for Zaku. It is more like this over here. Okay, so please watch carefully the animation. So if you look at the makeup of this kanji, we have flag, we have person, and underneath we have arrow. And that together makes the kanji for family or a clan. Okay, because we're all fighting together for the honor of the family. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So please finish off the kanji practice on ワークブック50ページ、51ページ。では皆さんさようなら。